supposed to fold all this pressure. I was been supposed to change up. Nigga, what would I look like? I come from the hood, I represent the only way up. Had to hustle, boy, I'm trying to touch the toy, I'm trying to fuck these LA streets up. Think it's safe to say that I didn't look, nigga, up. All black, everything.
How you doing, Mo?
I am good.
Some things in life that won't change. I'm a nigga that's supposed to walk, cause I'm a street survivor and they know this wrong. Before rap, it was rolling stones, overcut this coupe, copper cortisol.
All right, we are here with another episode of Snatch the Crown podcast, an empowering podcast where we delve into the realm of spirituality, wealth, and the unyielding journey towards reclaiming your seat on the throne. I am Mo Divine, and I'm here with my lovely co-host, Sherelle Marie. How are you doing, love?
Shit, I'm doing good. I'm grateful. I'm grateful.
There's no other way but to say that I'm grateful to be here too as well. For every time we do something, it's always empowering. So hope you're ready. Sit back, enjoy this ride. This is a more laid back kind of get to know. Of course, as you saw, this is the meet the host. This is the unyielding journey. So you're gonna get to we're gonna get a little personal tonight. So you get to know who we are, where we come from, our mission here with Snatch the Crown, as well as our mission in life. How all these things came together to create this platform here. And so I'm super, super excited. A miracle. I liked that song. You know, if you've been with us for quite some time, you already know how we like to incorporate music into our segments where we break down those things. That was actually a song that came to Sherelle today. So that was my first time hearing A Miracle. I do want to kind of give my I'm gonna go ahead and give my little tidbit before we get into it. Yeah, with that first verse for me, it's like, man, it just shows you how his willingness to do something different, to change, to switch up, to go a different route. You know, everybody has their past that they were previously on, and they are called to do something completely different. But of course, when you are getting ready to take that leap of faith and go on that new path, what they say, new levels bring in new devils, right? So you have there's obstacles and there are situations that come about that really kind of test your faith. To keep you balanced in the direction that you go. And of course, Nipsey has always been, he's one of those lyrical masterminds too as well when it comes to his lyrics. He's also, he reminds me a lot like Young Dolph too as well, being independent, being self-made, right? Not having the backing by anybody else, getting it out the mud for itself, and also wanting to really have to create a legacy, right, for his family, and not only for his family but his people. He wanted to show his people that you have the opportunity to get out there and be something and be the change that you're looking for. And so I'm definitely gonna probably have that song on replay,
right?
Because it is like, it's a miracle. You know, it's a miracle that we're all here. But when you think about miracles are like one of those how can I what is it? It's like those unexplainable phenomenons that comes up where when you feel like you're down and there's no way out, but all of a sudden you're given the key, you have the door opening, like Moses part in the Red Sea. How you want me to free my people and get them to be independent to the other side when there's a whole sea of thousands, okay, you know, thousands of miles that keeps us cross that keeps us from getting to the independent.
Right.
You use the staff, a wand. That's why I like the wands in the deck of in the tarot deck. You know, is they're actually very significant. They play a very, very significant role. Because you think about that wand, that's the only out of the swords in the deck. The ones, it's it can beat you enough that it can kill you, but it has enough. It's not as lethal as the swords, the words may be. So the
Mm-hmm.
ones, this represents that spirit. It represents that drive, that fire energy. So I love when one show up. It's just kind of one of those things that you have to. That's that miracle card. It's time to go. It's time to take a new path. So yeah, Nipsey is one of those ones who is going to always give messages through music, and
Yeah.
I think that was one of those ones. I would like to hear your insight because I know you probably listen to more of the song than I did. What is your perspective of America?
Um, so my perspective, so when he was saying like, he was what he say, I've been was supposed to give up and I've been was supposed to switch up, like all that. So it's
Mm-hmm.
like, um, it's more so of like I resonate with that only just because I'm long overdue. Long overdue for
Absolutely.
my desired life, you
Mm-hmm.
know, that I want to experience, and just getting in my own way, self sabotage. So um, that's what that song like brings to me.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, like don't be surprised when this start popping off because it was supposed to happen a long time ago.
Yep.
you know.
That's absolutely
So
right. So now you're being put in a position to where you kind of know like it's yours. Like you don't have to
mhm,
question it. You don't have to go through that self-sabotage or that
right.
self-doubt to figure out if I deserve it or um ain't nobody gonna get mad about me
Mhm,
having it or different things like that. So
mhm.
there's so many different ways that we can kind of bring that into. So we ain't gonna be here for a long time, but we're gonna go ahead and get into meeting the host.
Yes, yes.
Ah.
Well, I will say, when you have mentioned, the test,
Mhm.
the
Woo.
test. So I'm over here with sweat glistening all over my body
Okay.
because I just had to get through a test.
Hmm.
So, there was a storm out here last night in Texas, and it knocked the power out like at 9 o'clock. It just came back on, just
24
came back on
hours, no
probably about
power.
15 minutes before, start time or whatever. But so I'm from Cali, and back when I was there, because the weather done switched up out there now, but when I was there, like we ain't get like no rain or like that. There was no thunder. Like I
Hmm.
hadn't heard thunder out there like since the 80s and stuff.
Hmm.
So yeah, like experiencing extreme weather, some new, right?
Hmm.
So when we had like that snowstorm out here, um, first time, ever seeing snow or whatnot. And yeah, we were without power for like 2 days, two kind of like three, power and water. And then it was coldish, like it was freezing, and I can't
Reason,
do freezing.
right?
Freezing. And we didn't know nobody out here or whatnot. All of the hotels, like they were without power, like so we was just stuck basically. And
Hmm.
so like during that time, like I spazzed a little bit or whatever. But after like that second day, it's just like, okay, I just gotta just let it be what it is or whatnot. So like I've actually been experiencing a series of little tests for
Hmm.
a while now. So, when today, or actually like last night hit, it's like okay, whatever. But it was like the craziest storm that I've like experienced. Wasn't really any rain, but it was like they said it was like the winds of like a hurricane, and I still haven't experienced a hurricane yet since
Hmm.
being out here. This is going on like 4 years or whatnot. Um, And so yeah, just being able to allow myself to keep my cool and to not allow like, you know, the heat and the discomfort and all that stuff to distract me and to throw, you know, my frequency off, because I'm in the
Absolutely.
middle of, you know, doing something like, I would say the unthinkable, you know, to the
Mhm.
average person, especially during these times, right? It's like, girl, what
Right.
you doing? But I'm like, shit, I gotta flex this God muscle, because I can't just keep doing what I have been doing. Like, it's
Hmm.
not working. So yeah, it was a miracle that them lights came back on. Right in
It really
time. And, you know, I
was.
got the AC, I could feel it or whatever, but it still got to cool. It got to cool down up in here. Um, but yeah, so the unyielding journey, like my journey, I would say it started. So I like to say that my spiritual path and my spiritual journey began back in 2009. So I'm the oldest of two siblings, two younger siblings, two brothers. And back in 2009, one of my brothers had died in a car accident. And so since, and I've mentioned on the show before that like we were just around church, but we weren't like religious or whatever. During that time, my brother, like he decided to give his life to God at a very young age or whatnot. So when he passed away, it was more so of, okay, like let me just go ahead and take like this path that basically everyone in the family has taken that path at some point in their lives. But it was like the first time for me to be in it and to actually be serious in it. During that, it was probably about like a year. But during that time, like I you know became activated. Now I've always just been like somebody who was energetically sensitive. I always just had a knowing, old soul, you know, type of person um, growing up. So yeah, it started there, but just like when I was young, I still had questions. Like things wasn't like lining up and things weren't
Hmm.
making sense. You know what I mean? So, and then like I was in, or you know, I was like with my kid's father or whatever, and it just wasn't going the way that in my mind, how a person who dedicates their life to the Lord, you know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
I felt like, you know, you supposed to, your life supposed to be on the up and up, because
Hmm.
you're putting, you know, your flesh, you know, the worldly ways to the side to serve God or whatnot. And we were Pentecostal, and we went to like white Pentecostal church. So it was like long skirts, no makeup. If you wore jewelry, earrings, like you couldn't do like none of that.
Wow.
Like none of
Hmm.
that. So, you know, when I do something, I ain't gonna like half-ass do it. So I was like all in or whatever. Like, but yeah, so I left out of that, and um fast forward, fast forward to like 2014. Yeah, about 2014. By then, like I was not with my kid's father no more. I was with somebody else, and shit wasn't cool. So I had to, you know, separate. And it was then that my journey had started, because everybody who was around me, they was just around me because of the type of person I was, not because they were for me. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So I separated, and that's when, you know, my spiritual journey began. It began through meditation. I had saw like, it was like this guy, his name was Alan Simmons, and he would post all of this like thought provoking, you know, things, right?
Hmm.
And even like just information about like meditation and stuff like that. So he had posted some it was like a meme, but it had like a African man on there, and I don't remember like the tribe and I don't remember the exact words, but it says something about kundalini, says something about sitting still and not moving, and that's when like you receive answers or something like that. So I had went ahead, I'm like, okay, let me try this. So I go to the edge of my bed on the floor, and I just sat like real still, and I just like, just allow myself to breathe. And it was then that I began to feel what I thought, or what was previously known to me as like the Holy Spirit, right? Like,
Mhm.
mind you, I had disconnected from all of that, and what I was taught is like when you leave, it leaves from you or
Right.
whatnot. So it was like I felt like this, this energy come over me. And my mouth
Mhm.
started to like chatter like I was about to start speaking in tongues, and I immediately stopped
Mm.
because I'm just like, oh no, I'm not even supposed to feel like this. Like I don't, I ain't even in it no more or whatnot. But it was
Right.
just like, it was like I had that feeling, and then at the same time, it was like, oh my gosh, like everything's been a lie. Like what is going on?
Whoa.
Like I started crying. I was like, so it was like, dang, like, I don't like being led on. I don't like to believe something and find out it's not true later on down the line. Like it be making me feel like a clown. So I'm like, I was like,
Oh.
but but yeah, and then that was like that happened, and then that's like when like I began to grow my hair out, like coming home from work every day, meditating, just practicing, and just, man, thinking back, like I was on it like hella fast, like
Mhm.
I was more advanced than I gave myself credit for, just because I was new, and then no one around me uh was on this path for me to have like a visual of what it's supposed to look like. I had met a lady online, and she lived like 40 minutes away, so we kind of connected. She taught me about like tarot, she taught me about just connecting with the universe and things like that. And yeah, like it's been like a long journey. And then like fast forward, then my second brother passes away.
Mhm.
Um, just that was like sudden. Now, mind you, my first brother, he was 23, and then my second brother, he at the time he was I think he was gonna be 22. Yeah, he was going on 22. Um, or he had just turned 22 that year. Yeah. So anywho, and then like 2 months after that, then my mom passed away. Now, at this time, I'm like, okay, what the hell is going on? I'm always like the type of person to ask why and to gain like a deeper understanding, because everything happens for a reason, right?
Mhm.
And by this time I had like a little like ancestor altar set up, like she had showed me like how to do that or
Mhm.
whatnot. And like I was sitting there, it was like everybody's obituary, and I'm like, okay, like I'm still pretty much young. Why in the hell am like how does this happen? Like why is this happening? Like how in the hell, like I'm this age and everybody's gone.
Right.
Like what am I supposed to do? Like,
Mhm.
and I have like other family, but when you're chosen, I mean, no matter how much family you got, you're gonna be walking like alone, basically, in a
Absolutely.
sense, until like, um, you reach a certain point,
Mhm.
right? Um, because separation is needed for elevation, but when you're going through it for the first time, you're not realizing that's why, and you just start to get stuck in like the, oh my god, I'm so lonely, and this is so and all of that.
Mhm.
So but yeah, like, so I remember sitting there at the altar that I had, and I'm just like asking why. and trying to gain understanding. And it was more so of like, okay, I had to do something like that, like no one has done, like in my family.
Mhm. Mhm.
Now, my brother Houston, which was the first brother who died in 2009, he was actually, um, he had just gave up, like he was going to stop pursuing his dream of being a firefighter. He was like in the auxiliary, like, group and everything. So he would
Mhm.
volunteer to go fight fires or whatever. So he had stopped that and he was just going to go ahead and give all his attention to being like a youth pastor. Actually,
Mhm.
he had passed away. He was on, him and two friends, they were on their way to another friend's church to like, you know, hear him singing and like to help out like in the band and stuff. So,
Mhm.
so that, and then my brother Joseph, he actually, I didn't even know this until, you know, being around everyone after he had passed, but he was in the middle of making like an album or whatnot. He was an artist. And then my mom, she was just looking forward to retirement. So it's like, okay, like you have to, like it was more so of like I got up from there feeling like I had to carry like the torch, like so I
Mhm.
was gonna continue to live and do like these great things. But so like for my brother Houston, being like a spiritual leader, positioning myself to like help the people, right? And then with my brother Joseph, it was more so being in the limelight, expressing my creativity. I actually owe him, I owe my brother I owe my brother a five
Okay.
song EP. I told him I was gonna do it,
All
and
right.
that's
You
like
gotta
I'm
do it. I'm
like,
gonna hold you to it.
yeah, okay, you're holding me to it too. I'm like, okay, but you gotta help me, But okay,
Okay.
and then like with my mom, so like with my mom, um, you know, she worked like for the county, like where we're from, like for a long time. But I had also worked there too. We had worked in the same building, just different departments, and I always just job hop, and
Mhm.
because I can't do it. Like I'll do it until I learn it. But once I learn
Mhm.
it and I conquer it, like I don't want to do it no more. And what I really want to do is just be an entrepreneur, right? So like I
Mhm.
was always going to her desk and being like, Mom, like I got this idea. I'll do this, I'll do that, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, yeah, you will be able to pull it off too. Like, so she was always encouraging me. So like for my mom, my whole thing is to make sure that like I become and follow through with being a successful entrepreneur. Um, Now I didn't know how it was all like gonna come like look like at that time because that was like what because my mom passed in 2016, actually on Valentine's Day, and and so just now um yeah, I still have a long way to go, but the journey is just learning, you know, how to be obedient, like to your inner voice, and knowing what your voice is, and getting to just getting acclimated to like how to utilize like your gifts. Um,
Mhm.
it's just been all of that since then. Once I got attuned to become a Kundalini Reiki practitioner, that that right there shifted my life. Like that's what led me here. That's why I'm here
Mhm.
in Texas or whatnot. Is because what happens is it once you're attuned to that energy, it puts you in like your most like everything starts to take place to transpire to put you in your most like authentic, like where you're supposed to be, your purpose, like all of that. And just thinking back to the series of events, um yeah. I'm saying it's been highs, lows, and
Right.
I mean I've
Absolutely.
been taken through the trenches, I feel like, but it's all about your strength. Like, well, for me
Mhm.
and my path, it's about strength and making sure and being able to show people and to reflect to people that they too have the power to overcome all everything that's thrown at them that's meant
Mm-hmm.
to knock them off they life's purpose and to keep them down. um that's basically what like my life has been. um and just even making peace, like, so the grief part, that was like a whole journey in itself. um Allowing myself to process grief in in a healthy manner. And
Mm-hmm.
I had to learn how to be transparent and honest, like with myself, and be vulnerable, with myself, especially, when you're so used to being strong and you're looked at, as the strong when everybody expects you to be strong.
Mm-hmm.
Um, just being honest and making peace with the series of events, and just knowing that it's all for a bigger it's for a bigger purpose. And I actually saw it before I had left. I went to visit my brother's grave,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, like, I seen it and it was overwhelming. I was
Yeah.
like, oh
It's
so
typically overwhelming when you don't know how you're going to, especially you're in that position, you're at his grave,
mhm,
experiencing what you're experiencing in your life at that moment. And you see this grand scheme of things that's
mhm,
beautiful and abundant and happy and peaceful. And you like, how the hell that's going to happen? Like, what?
mhm.
That I'm going to
Right.
experience that? And it's always the how, because we don't really have an answer at that moment. So it's always like, how? And it's I don't think it's like how. I think that's where we have to um the why that comes in. We talk about the
Mhm.
why you're doing it, different things. That's what gets us to where we're going. Is when we're doing it for the why, it has everything is going to be aligned up exactly how it needs to be to get you there.
Right,
And you
right.
kind of discovered your why on your journey. Part of it is children. One of the things as a tribute to your brother. But that's also a part of you too as well, where you had to where you want, just teaching the youth things that you may not gotten as a young adult. And we just
Mhm.
know how environment plays a major role in the development of the youth. And if we can start with them early, we can completely change their life. They don't have to be
Right,
going through their Saturn return and realizing like, oh shit,
right.
this is life. So
But
that
yeah, and I did forget to mention too, just picking up and leaving. So
Mhm.
I left everything when I left home, Cali or whatever, and I just really just came. We just came with our clothes and all my spiritual stuff, because that's
Right.
all that was it. Like, I had to bring all my spiritual stuff. I did give some stuff away or whatever, like a
Hmm.
little bit of books and stuff, but but nah, I brought everything with me.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, like, and I was told to move to Houston, but since I didn't know nobody there,
You
I
bypass,
skipped
you did a
over.
detour.
Yep, I went past and went to to Baton Rouge, like to be with my dad. But me and my dad really ain't cool like that,
Hmm.
and well, we weren't. But it was, all like love or whatever still. But
Hmm.
I had went out there, and that only lasted a week. And my whole, like, I had everything planned out, it just got thrown out the window. So I had a cousin who had moved out to New Orleans years prior, and me and my kids, we went to go stay with her. Was trying to look for a spot, look for a job, but nothing was panning out. It was there when the money started getting low. I had to I had to tap in to
Mm-hmm.
like that. I said I want to be an entrepreneur, right? So I had to tap
Yeah.
into like the hustle, and I started doing readings out there at the French Quarter. I had my little table set up, but mind you, I went out there scoping, looking around, like trying to see what people was doing. There was this one dude. He was sitting there, and he only had like a TV tray. I was like, okay, well, shit, that's all I need. So I had brought out there the first day was like one chair and a TV tray because that's like what my cousin had, and and like my cards, and then so my cousin was giving me the rundown. She was like, okay, you know, just be careful. People, they might appear nice or whatever, but they really competitive. Just give me the game and everything. But when I went
Mm-hmm.
out there, like I didn't experience none of that. Like my first client or my first person who come up was this little girl, little white girl, and she starts because I had Crystal. She started like, oh, what's this? And then I'm good with kids, and so I let her pull the card and all that other stuff, and was entertaining her, and then like because the parents, they was watching like the little show.
Mm-hmm.
So when they finally was able to drag her away because she wasn't trying to leave from my spot, then they went ahead and broke me off some dough or whatnot. And then there was like this lady who was set up at the end. She came and gave me like an extra chair. She's like, yeah, more people will come sit down if you have another chair. I'm like, oh, okay, because dude, he didn't have another chair. He was just sitting there. So I'm like, okay, I can come out there with the bare minimum. Long story short, like I ended up making, like after she put that chair there for me, like I made like a cool amount of money to where I was able to go and get the real setup, get
Mm-hmm.
the extra chair or whatnot. I got my table and everything. Got some blankets because it was cold as shit at my cousin house or whatnot. So I had to get
Right.
some extra blankets and stuff. But yeah, and then like just started going out there every day. Me and my son, I would drive out there in the morning to get my spot, and then go take the car back, and then we walk back to like the spot with everything else.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started putting like my resume out to companies out here, and I had an interview lined up. I even had a spot lined up. It was already coming furnished and everything. But on the way out here, I'm on my way. I'll be there in about 3 hours. The lady like, oh, the dude gave the house away because they wanted electronic funds. I just had cash, and there was my bank was a credit union in Cali, so it was like the nearest like little co-op bank was in Mississippi. I'm like, I ain't driving to Mississippi or whatever. So I'm like, I'm just gonna have to chance it. So they gave the spot away. I'm like, oh shit. And we left on 11/11.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, to come out here 2019 11/11. But yeah, after we had got so far, I'm like, well shit, not turning back, because even after we had got put out like in Baton Rouge, I'm like, well shit, I ain't driving all the way back. Like I just drove
Okay.
all the way out here my
Yeah.
first time, driving across state lines, and then I drove by myself like the whole time. Like we did stop overnight Albuquerque, but still I'm like, I ain't driving back. Like and then so it's like I ain't driving back to New Orleans. So we slid on through and stayed at a hotel, and we was there for like 2 months. But in the midst of that, car got repoed. Like it was all kinds of crazy shit. But I'm still here. Like even where I'm at now, like it started out, we didn't have shit. We was sleeping on
Mm-hmm.
the floor. You know what I mean? Then from the floor to an air mattress, then air mattress to beds. Then I got furniture, car, another car. So it's just like, but here is like where I really had to I was forced to go within, because like I said, I ain't know nobody out here at all. And although I had met like a couple of people, I would call them angels, that because like I did have a couple people like that I crossed paths with that assisted me, you know what I mean? But just discovering like my power, learning who I am, and learning that I can stand alone, learning that um everything is possible. uh Even like learning how to, I started, my businesses here, you know what I mean? And really just proved my power, this whole time.
I love it.
So what about you and your journey?
So, well, um, of course, I feel like I've been activated ever since I came into this world. That was an activation just based on the level of things that my mother wanted from at the time in her life. And so as a result, surprise, I'm here. So before I became more divine, and now kind of like my spiritual journey actually is what gave that name. I was Monisha, okay?
Mhm.
And everybody called me Shay growing up. So
Shut
that was
up.
like, yeah.
My auntie used to call me that. I don't know where she got it, but she called me Shay too.
I had well, Lachey is my middle name, so
Mhm.
yeah, everybody called me Shay. I don't know, I ain't like it because it was so many of us growing up, I'm sorry, I didn't like Monisha because nobody could pronounce the name. They would butcher the name and different things, and I was like, call me Shay, but no, everybody was. I guess, like sometimes with people, it has to make sense. So they looking at Monisha and they want me to call you Shay. They ain't going with it. We're gonna call you by your government name. So in school, I was Monisha. To the people who knew me, close family, friends, different things, I was Shay. But I do feel like each name had a different version of myself. Um, and as I grew older, I saw that Shay was more so this persona, you know what I'm saying? Who not really who I was or who I was supposed to be, but it was who people wanted me to be. And I knew that that wasn't who I wanted to be. I kind of was more so leaning towards my name, Monisha. Okay, so Monisha means intelligent one. Also means Lord Krishna too as well. So I was the intelligent one. I love school, different things like that. You couldn't keep me away from that. But spiritually, I knew I was different. I've always been a dreamer. I've had visions as young as 2 years old. I remember I saw my mom about to catch on. There was a fire when I was little. She's outside raking the leaves, and I was standing in the door, and I saw it about to happen before it actually happened. But I witnessed everything happening, and it was also one of those things like I saw what was about to happen before it even happened. It kind of it did a number on me, and I realized too as well that was it kind of triggered me, but it because I was so young and I wasn't able to protect, I naturally wanted to be there for my mother no matter what. I wanted to be there to protect her because I wasn't able to protect her at a very young age. So now I feel like I have this duty to protect. But in essence, all of that is a part of essentially who I am. And so on the spiritual journey, we went to school. I mean, not went to school. We went to church. Definitely raised in church because there was a part of time that I lived with my grandparents, and my grandparents were very religious. They were actually 7-day Adventists. So you were saying no makeup, long skirts. I know all about that. A lot of these religions they take bits and pieces of information and ideologies from other religions and different things like that, and they just create their own separation or branch. And so 7-day Adventist is pretty much the same thing. Worship on Saturdays, then opposed to Sunday,
Mhm.
because that was like the day of rest, the day of worship. The seventh day was the day of worship. They, sun up to sundown. They believe it's one day, so their days. They kind of believe like how people interpreted the calendars back in like the Mayan days and different things like that.
Mhm.
And so grew up in this church. That's all I knew. Um it was instilled into me at a very, very young age, to the point where I feel like if I strayed away from it, my life would be in chaos. You gonna know what I'm saying? So that was a battle that I kind of experienced all the way up into my early 20s. Um, After we disconnected and my mom was in a position to go on her own, I no longer stayed with my grandparents. We went to church, but we didn't go to church like that. And if I think about it, on time we kind of went to church when there was something that was going on wrong, right? When needed a bill paid or something like that, or there we were in need. So because we were in need, let's go. It's time to go to church, get our life right with the Lord. And now, and you just think about the programming that you had at a very young age that you're gonna constantly get programmed as you get older.
Right.
So it was sporadic. As I got older, I went through two other forms of church. I went to a Baptist church, then I did non-denominational. And just trying to find this path of enlightenment. But I always, even though the word, I could not relate to the word, I was able to relate to what was happening per spirit. I knew that I really wasn't religious then. I was spiritual because I connected via the spirit. I didn't connect by flesh or by what was being preached to us, and this power of control that wasn't what resonated with me. It was the resonance of spirituality and knowing that I was gifted like Jesus. You know what I'm saying? I'm having dreams too. Like
Right.
Joseph and different things like that, you know. I feel like I can heal and different things and heal myself. I've healed myself without having to take medicines before, you know, all those things. So I knew there was something. Um I would think like the pivotal point for me of the journey what led me here was 2013. My grandmother passed away, and she was the matriarch of the family. She was like the last thing that was going to keep the family together. My grandfather had passed away in 1999, so it had been years since there was any type of structure of that sort. So 2013 was a very tough year for me. I was going through some things personally. I was going through this battle with my mother where we were I was literally fighting for custody for my oldest son, whose name just so happened to be Joseph. So it was almost like the battle of the flesh that was going on, because I'm like, how much more can I be broken down by the person that I love and the person that truly loves me? It was like it got to be something deeper than that. But I allowed my hurt and my pain to kind of get in the way of my spirituality. So I struggled during that time to even have faith in anything. Um, I did go to church during that time where I was going when I was going through that battle, because I will remember these things that were instilled to me from my grandmother. So it was like I need to go to church. I was trying to go to church with the partner that I was with at that time. Baptist churches is a little bit different for me. And it was this particular time, and I felt like this pastor was being real judgy. And I ain't like that. And we actually got into an argument at the church, no lie. I was like, I don't like how he judging people. And of course it was when it was the sermon about you know, how the abominations of God and, you know, people and sexuality and different things like that. I guess now I'm at a point, then I guess I knew I was at a point to where, of course, we all kind of, I never would say I struggle with my sexuality, but I mean, when you are kind of fluid and free, you may not know what you may like, you know what I'm saying? But it was the thing of judging the person because of what they desire. And I didn't like that, because I saw a few people that was there that appeared to be homosexual in the church, whether they knew it or not. I was a reader, so I kind of naturally picked up on that instantly. Mm-hmm. But I would see them cringing as he's speaking, and I'm like, this is so hurtful to people, because what if you're trying to really truly get your life right with source, and you have this person bashing you in the process of you trying to correct yourself? I ain't like that. And it was kind of like a downhill battle from there, because I felt like this even there, It's like, this is who you look up to as a leader? Like, something gotta be wrong with you. But I don't realize how religion keeps people under a level of control, and they really do think like that, and they really do feel that way. So I independently started going to church on my own. It was sporadically because I was a slave to a job, so I really couldn't go like I truly wanted to, but I did have those times. um 2015 rolled around, and I was going through an experience. I think I was being led to go a different route. Didn't know what that route was going to look like. Um, but I just kind of knew that maybe this is not the route to go with this person. And as I think about it now, it's like we definitely had our own level of healing that needed to take place. And sometimes you can grow together, sometimes you have to grow apart. And I think ego got in the way of us wanting to have to taking a step to grow apart. And it just kind of like went it wasn't favorable. In the midst of the unfavorables, surprise, you're pregnant. And now we're bringing this child into the world. And what are we going to do? I felt like I was at this end of the world. So I went, of course, like any other cycle, what do? You go back. And I went back to church. And I remember this sermon. It was coming up right before Christmas. They were talking about Emmanuel and his mission, and him being God, and him having that resonance to God. And I just felt like that was me. That was a sermon that took me, that was like, okay, I'm giving my life back to Christ, and I need to be, you need to drop me in the water ASAP. Because I just have to go through this. All right, so we in 2015, we chilling. Time goes on, I'm going to church. I wasn't able to get baptized immediately because I was pregnant, for safety reasons. They didn't want to baptize me, so they put me on. I feel like everything was apart because it was a test, right? So they was like, you gotta go to Bible study. And I'm like, okay, I guess that's great, because I never read the Bible. Like, I read the Bible, but like not reading the Bible to interpret things, to see things with a different eye. So in Bible study, I'm learning these different things. And I remember it was we were talking about heaven and hell. And that's where I kind of find out, like, I should have left then, but you really don't know. But that was when it was opened up to that is not a physical place that you're gonna go to. So heaven and hell was described to be, would take place on earth. And hell was on earth. Hell was not after everyone ascended into their to where they needed to go, the ones who would be left here would be the ones who were on this hell of earth. So, like, I interpreted then, like, so hell isn't real. It's like a state of mind. Is what we believe on where we would go if we follow these particular doctrines. And it fucked her up because she was like, well, it is going to be here. But I'm like, no, we've been telling this hell was like down there. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, it's in a whole abyss, like you're down. So you mean to tell me when God comes back, that this hell that takes place, then when this rapture comes through, like, everybody, you're still going to be in the same spot. You're not going to go to a place. It's just things is going to look different where you are.
Right.
And it just kind of shook me up. And I would still go to church, but it was always in the back of my mind. I'm like, so if they, all this time, for like 26, 27 years, I've been thinking that this is a physical place, that if I continue to do wrong and do bad things and things that are ungodly, like, that they're going to actually put, like, this was the place, like, you would think up under the jail was hell, right? Because,
Right.
they depict jail as being the worst place possible, and up under there is hell. So, no, it's not.
And they rhyme.
Huh?
I said, and they rhyme.
Right. So, man, they do rhyme. Now I think about it. And so I was like, okay, it just had me in a different space. But I'm like, I'm going to continue to learn more because obviously there's something that Spirit is wanting me to see because they don't want me to rebaptize myself at this moment. They're saying, stop. Let's learn. Let's teach you some things. Relearn some things. So I was able to get perspective. I'm not gonna say it was a bad thing. I actually was very, very grateful for going through Bible study because it helped me to. I left full each time because it gave me a level of new understanding of what I needed to, and it always seemed like it was an alignment to whatever was going on in my life at that time. And of course, I'm pregnant, so I'm going through all the motions. So it was just
Right.
what I needed. 2016 come rolling around. Um, I'm still going to church. I don't know how I ended up on. I think it started with crystals, and then I ended up on this path where I was aligned with an astrologer. And so I got my first birth chart reading. This was in 2016, and I remember her. She was talking about these trances that was getting ready to take place in 2017. But she was like, you are getting ready to go to this next level. You're getting ready to come into like a wealth of money, a wealth of knowledge, and all these beautiful things. And she was like, but you got to go through a spiritual awakening. So I'm like, okay. But also other part of me like, yeah, girl, I just joined the church. I'm a part of the church. Everything is going great. I turned my love over to Christ. I'm so excited. I just had my baby. We're gonna get ready. I think it was like in a couple of weeks. I'm getting ready to get baptized. I'm just ready for this renewal. And she was like, nah, I don't think that's it. So I'm like, what else could it be? I don't know anything outside of religion. I don't know anything at this moment. And so she was like, I ain't gonna say all that, but you are about to go. You're about to be this. What's about to happen is your test of faith is about to take place. You're gonna be tested, but it's kind of like, how bad do you want it? If you want it bad enough, you're going to allow. You have no other choice but to allow yourself to go through this spiritual awakening. So I'm like, okay, I'm still thinking it's related to church. Um, Fast forward, I go, I get ready to get baptized. Now, I think a part of me, what I learned at that time was, although I did it for myself, I think I kind of did it to win over my family because I wanted them to be happy. I wanted them to see me in this new light because we had been arguing back and forth in the most toxic relationship, emotional abusive relationship for about 2 years. And I just kind of like wanted to turn over this new leaf. Like that I wanted them to see. Like at this time I got Joseph back. I'm thriving. I'm on my own. I got my own apartment. No, this time I had my own house. It was a miracle how that happened. But I had my own house, I had my own car, and I was doing really, really well for myself. And it was just like, this is the icing on the cake, right? Plus the sprinkles and the candles by me getting rebaptized, and everybody's gonna be so proud of me. I thought everybody was going to show up for me, and it ended up nobody showing up for me. I actually went to church by myself, got rebaptized by myself. I was alone. I was afraid. I was scared. And I remember as I was walking down to the water, and they singing the songs, but I'm hearing this voice. It's like, you're going to step down and you're never going to be the same. And of course, you're going to think, like, oh, yeah, I'm never going to be the same because I'm about to be renewed. And it was like when I went up under and I came back up, the water be a little spicy to the eyes. And it ain't no chlorine, but just water, hard water in your eyes. Even in the shower, it kind of irritates your eyes. So it's like I wiped my eyes away, and it's just like all the mask of everybody around me was pulled off, and I was like, "What the fuck?" I was sitting in church uncomfortable as hell because now I feel like I was open to see what was panning out right in front of me. Um, as I am going through this and going through the spiritual enlightenment, I am I'm finding myself falling in love with crystals. Now, mind you, I was already somewhat into astrology because I had got a birth chart reading, so I'm already
Right.
different. You know what I'm saying? So I'm still going back towards to the notes that she had given me, finding out, learning out, and new information, learning about myself. And I think the catalyst of being in I ended up being into a relationship. It was like this unconventional relationship, something that I said that I probably never would do, but it was something that I had to kind of truly experience. But it was one of those situations where I felt like that I was stripped of everything. It was stripped of knowing who I was. I was questioning myself. I was questioning, is this even real? Like this reality that we're living in, is this really real? And I was furthermore being pushed toward the esoteric information in the occult. Like
Mhm.
there was nothing. I still when it came to church, I used to cringe because of course when you wake up from something and you see that everything that you've been told has been a lie, you naturally fear it and you don't never want to deal with it again. But
Right.
I realized that that's how we kind of create fear, and we don't really be able to fully move away like from it when we don't accept that that was a part of us and that
Right.
needed to happen for our journey. That's why even being on this journey now, even though I know and I'm completely spiritual, and there's nothing against religious people, I don't judge anybody going back to religion
Right. Right.
because that is a part of their unfolding journey. That is their path. And we as individuals can't be judgmental of a path that a person chooses to go on.
Right.
However, I do know that being a part of a religion, you kind of ultimately give up your own sovereignty. And I'm a sovereign individual. So therefore, I will never be able to go back to religion. I will always be a spiritual individual because a spiritual, a spiritualist, they know they are a source.
Right.
They don't have to go looking for a source. When you're a part of a religion, there's only one source, and that source is external. Spiritualists know that they are the source, and it's internal. And I had to realize that I had to go within to know that, man, everything that I've been looking for has been inside of me, but I was still on the outside hoping that those things would show up in ways of comfort, and that partners, clothes and different things. That all of those things is to keep us comfortable.
Right.
I know in order to be greater and to experience greater, you have to get uncomfortable a little bit. So
So
that's
true.
where the tests began to come into play. And from there, after my eyes were open and I was being able to see different things, I started calling in these certain things, and I became aligned with different people and different individuals on the path to place me here. And I'm grateful for every path that I chose to get here, because without that I wouldn't be here. I know I wouldn't be where I am today. And I had to go through those experiences, whether being drugged through the trenches. You ain't even have to. Sometimes you don't have to do anything,
Right.
and you automatically become a target. So I've been targets. I've been punching bags for people. I've been my own punching bag, and I gotta admit that too. I've punched on myself enough.
Yep.
Okay, I beat myself up enough,
Right.
where that self-sabotage and that self-destruction comes in. But that was all that I feel like that happened because I didn't want to truly trust what was going on internally. I was still trying to look for that external validation, form of security, whatever it may be. I'm still on the outside. So on this spiritual path, we do have to accept that you're going to be tested on whether or not where you're going is the right direction. And I feel
Right.
like even with the podcast, we know we've been going through the greatest test. It's the best test ever, and I love it because even though we have our moments, we come back
Right.
out. We come back on top every time, and it's because it's for a bigger purpose. Our mission is so much greater, and we have to know those little things, and we have to see for those things. And I really think the biggest thing of everything is literally following your intuition and having discernment. That's
Yep.
what's going to get you, and that faith of a mustard seed, right? If that's all you need to be able to have anything that you want, you can have anything that you want. And I feel like just as big as that mustard seed is just as big as a lot of people fear is, and that's why they're unable to have that faith to keep going and being trusted. So, but
Right.
now it's like I'm in autopilot. I'm on autopilot, right? And I'm just Mo Divine take the wheel. Oh, how Mo Divine came. Fast forward back to 2022, probably like this is probably like 20, yeah, that's 2017. As I met the partner, we had this roommate, and he was a Moorish. He was a Moor. So he was on some deep stuff. And we were just having this conversation, and I was just being expressive of who I am, and I was reading him at that time, and he
Hmm.
was just in awe. And of course, everybody already called me Modian, and he was
Hmm.
like, "You're so divine," and I was like, "Hell yeah, I'm Mo Divine," and it was just like
Hmm.
Mo Divine.
Right.
Like
Okay.
shit, I'm more divine, and but I said it to the like you saying I'm divine. I'm like shit, I'm more than divine. You get what I'm saying? Like shit, I'm
Hmm.
more divine. Like I'm more than what that is. And it was just kind of like that. And he was like, hell yeah, more divine. That's it. And it just kind of stuck around. And
Nice.
when it came to the name, so back to when I said, you remember how like people called me Shay growing up. So when I went to school, I didn't want to be called Monisha. I preferred to be called Shay. So it was kind of one of those things like when it was coming to Mo Divine, like, okay, you don't know who the hell you want to be. You went from Monisha, you started accepting Mo, because for a minute I didn't like people to call me Mo, because it went from Mo to Momo to Moisha, and it was like, no, But now I've learned to accept Mo. But when I look at Mo Divine, I look at the what's bigger than Monisha, right? It's something way bigger than a name. It's almost like an embodiment of all the energies that are here to help me in this journey. And so when I decided to go, like I am Mo Divine, like I tell people when I go out and I introduce myself as Mo Divine. Like only time Monisha is being used is legal things, you know what I'm saying? But I'm Mo Divine. That's who I am, because that is just where I am right now with my energies. I can't even relate to Monisha anymore. I damn sure can't relate to Shay anymore. So I'm being, when we're on these new levels, we have to go, names represent those energies that we are in. And it was, I can't remember, but I know it was probably like, what is it, 2023? Probably 2021, end of 2021. I think it was 2021. Round about like September, the spirit was like, you Mo Divine. And ain't no more Monisha. That's what they're gonna know you as. It's Mo Divine. And that's that's the legacy that I'm gonna leave behind, is of Mo Divine. That's my spiritual journey. That's what
Hey.
led me here to be where I am. And the things that I've endured, they were just literally they were like stepping stones for me to get through. However, it's also like a roadmap to others who
Right. Right.
may be experiencing those things. Like that's what I had to realize, like we all go through something completely different. We're not going to all go through the same thing. However, sometimes their similarities do create the same solutions, right? So even if the situation may be different, there's probably only one solution that's going to be able to get you out of that. And because
Right.
I've experienced things, I am able to provide solutions to those things that keep people stuck, that keep people from identifying who they truly are, identifying their God
Right.
name. You know what I'm saying? Because I know a lot of people know that they're gods and goddesses, and they're trying to figure out who they are. A lot of time they try to figure out who they are based on think about, how you have the people that be like daughter of Oshun, all these crazy names.
Mhm.
Like you're still trying to find who you are using somebody else name. Create your name, listen to who you are and what you're supposed to be giving to the people, and that's where you kind of
Right.
openly align with. So
Yeah.
I am so happy to experience those things because I'm here today to teach people how to elevate those same transgressions and reclaim they seat at the throne. Okay.
Okay. For real.
So I do look, so I got a Dolph taught me tonight, right?
Okay.
So I think anything involving water is where I kind of get my most messages. I know shower is one of the things, but also being in the kitchen is another thing. Um I was listening to one particular song. I can't remember what it was, but it wasn't even rap related. But of course, Apple be on their little mix thing. Dolph came up, and of course, at first it was what was it? It was Facts. Facts was playing,
Mhm.
and let me, because I ain't gonna say, sometimes the older you get, you kind of forget a few things. So let me. I don't want to um misquote him. So I'm going to um, matter of fact, it's the hook. So when he was like, I feel like every day God put me through a test.
Yeah, I already
Since
knew you
I
was
was
gonna say
17, I ain't been able to get no rest. Bill time coming up,
that.
and guess
Coming
who
up and
paid the
guess who
rent?
paid the rent?
So I was listening, and I was like, man, that's facts. For me, relatable that I think about was I'm like, okay, since I was 17, I ain't really been able to get no rest because that was the first time I was 17 when I got pregnant. So I've been in the energy of a mother since I was 17 years old. I grew up extremely fast. I'm grateful for that because most people as young teenage moms, they don't grow up. They still be stuck in that at that
Right.
age.
Mhm.
For me, I knew I wanted different. I didn't want to be a teen mom, and especially when I was at that age, 16 and pregnant was very, very popular on MTV, and they were so chaotic. And I was like, no, I don't want to be in this energy of chaos. I want to be the energy of knowing. I want to be in the energy of flowing. And I always wanted to be the best. So I can ultimately say it changed me. Um, I think it probably changed me to the point where I know part of me now, like I'm at an age where I'm like, maybe I don't want any more children because I've been a mama for 15 years and I got a 7-year-old, right? So it's like they all I know, and I've given my all of myself to them. So even
Right.
now I'm having to find the balance in that because it's like it's been on go mode ever since I was 17 because I'm a mother. I gotta strive for my children. Um I was gonna say, baby daddy ain't shit. I'm gonna do the Fujiano just for a minute. I was like, nah, I ain't gonna do that. But no, like that's kind of like what it was. So I feel like that I had to be like, I had to be super mom, had to throw in the cake and make sure everybody's taken care of. So they don't have to go through the struggles that I went through and I experienced. But I was listening to the song and it made me think, and I was like, man, I was 17, but I do feel like that was even a test for me. And as these tests continue to come, being that I am the intellectual one, right? As Monisha, that's my given name on this earth, that I know that I have the power and the logic to be able to pass these tests. And then it was like facts, like you know what I'm saying? I'm processing them in the background, facts. So it's like, so Dolph taught me how to be, to know it is just reaffirming that I am going through these tests. I am put in these positions, but I'm put in these positions to prepare myself for greatness, so that I can be able to say in 6 months to a year, because I ain't even say a couple of years, 6 months to a year, I'm a self-made millionaire. Do you hear me? I did this on my own. Everything that happened was because I needed to. It was a test of faith. Facts. You get what I'm saying? So everything is the truth. Everything is
Yeah,
fact.
and then what he says before that, he says, what he say, young nigga blessed. So then he say, I feel like every day God put me through a test. So I mean,
He sure did. Because we're blessed. You know what I'm saying? People, the hotels, they be like, oh, you be less than yourself. They be trying to, like, sometimes you be reaching, okay? But just reality of the situation, that we are blessed and that we ain't gotta really worry about anything. That we have it, that we're going through these experiences because we have to grow through them. And that's what everything is about. Everything is about growth during this journey. And the unyielding journey is knowing that you got to keep going no matter what it comes in your way. You got to keep striving, keep becoming better for you. Like a lot of times we be, and I've been there before. Like I only wanted to accomplish something to make somebody else mad. Fuck them. Okay. Whatever. I don't even care about you, but I do care enough about myself to know that I do want better. I do deserve. I ain't looking for the recognition of anybody else because it really don't matter. I am doing this for self, and I'm doing this for the ones who are ready to take that next step in their own life. I ain't trying to prove nothing to nobody who don't care about getting up, brushing their teeth, or washing their ass every day. I mean, reality of the situation, these people be out here thugging in these streets, hiding behind these motherfucking cell phones and shit. And their life is way more in shambles, and they ain't got no room to talk about anybody. Why I'm trying to compete with that? What am I trying to prove to them? I learned to compete with the version of who I was yesterday, who I was 10 hours ago. That's who I compete with. That's the only competition that I'm worried about is Monisha. Anybody else, I don't see you. You know what I'm saying? I seen you, but I don't see you right now. But I see you enough in the spiritual with my spiritual eyes to be like, I see you. You know what I'm saying? They get the drift. But yeah.
Yes.
I was. My Dolph taught me. I was like, okay, Dolph, I hear you. You did teach me that. You are teaching me that. And I'm grateful for you. Because, like we said once before, without Young Dolph, Snatch the Crown would not even be possible. So we're gonna always give gratitude to him every day. Every time we do this episode, we're gonna make sure we give gratitude to him. Because he put all of this together. And it's just such a beautiful thing that is transpiring here with us. So Make sure y'all are following us on YouTube and Facebook. Definitely follow us over here on YouTube, okay? Because we're trying to get these subscribers up. Tell a friend to tell a friend, okay?
To tell a
Make
friend.
okay, like and follow, and also hit that notification bell so you can be so you know when we going live. Of course, it's gonna always be each and every Tuesday and Thursday, 10 p.m. Central Standard Time. We here, okay? Even if you pull up at 10:10, we ain't here. Just know we pulling up. We on the way. We ain't route. We coming.
Right.
we gonna show up. It don't matter.
Time.
We pulling up. Okay, so be patient, right? Be patient. We're gonna have some goodies for you for the next few episodes. It's finna start cranking up. We just kind of wanted to reiterate a few things tonight by getting to know us, and then there's still more to us, right? So we still ain't gave you everything. We just gave you a little bit so you can get to know who we are, and that kind of gives you this insight of where we going and what is our greater mission of this all. You have anything that you want to add?
Yeah, I just want
Okay.
to say I'm just proud of myself. I'm proud of you too, just
Absolutely.
for the follow through, because
Yes.
after the last 24 hours I had, like, ain't no way I would not have wanted to do this show. I would have been like, let's do it. Let's
Right.
skip tonight
Listen.
or whatever. But the way that I kept my cool, and then the way that the power came back on, like, just in time to do the show.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, that's how you know. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And I'm gonna shout you out too as well, because without you, your words behind the scenes are so encouraging and so uplifting and so empowering. I'm grateful to have a co-host on my side like that to help me see through things, with no judgment, and being able to be relatable and being sympathetic and empathetic too as well, because you don't find that in many people. Because earlier we had a conversation and we all going through tests, so it
Right.
was like oh no, but it was like it is also where I do recognize I have to step outside of myself, because for if I was doing this for myself, I wouldn't have done it, but I know it's for the greater. This is for
Right.
y'all, for the listeners. This is me showing up is for you, to let you know, no matter what you're going through, no matter what may feels like it's happening in your life, you may see, going through those storms and those trials and tribulations and different things like that. There is a brighter side to everything that's happening, and everything that's happening is really to prepare you for greater.
Yes.
So with that, just know that greatness is definitely on the way. Okay. Yeah, so I definitely wanted to shout that out, but we are ending it. Okay. Thank y'all for tuning in. Make sure you catch us every Tuesday and Thursday. All right. 10 p.m. Central Standard Time. Make sure you're following us on all platforms. And also, you can listen to us on Spotify and some other of your major platforms too as well. Y'all want to hear something? Y'all got any suggestions, any topics, or anything? Feel free to make sure y'all engaging with us. Okay, so we know that you here, so that you know that your voice is being heard too as well, because there may be some things that you specifically want to hear, and we'll be able to accommodate that. All right, so until next time, y'all, have a good night.
Like my nigga don't step for me, and my niggas they step